Hello, everyone. Welcome to Natural Health and Astrology. We are here to talk about the new moon today. I am Lori Barnes. I am an astrologer and psychotherapist and a moon lover. And I'm here with my co-host Annabelle to talk about the new moon. So I'll let Annabelle introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. My name's Annabelle, and I am a health coach. I am a naturopath and very passionate about using essential oils to help manage our emotions, which they can be particularly useful during these different moon phases. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that today and learning from Laurie what's going on in the Gemini new moon, right? Which I'm very interested in.
It is your new moon. We get one a year. So if you're a Gemini, it's exciting. If you're an air sign, actually, because the element of Gemini is air. So
Which are the other air signs?
So Libra, Aquarian, and Geminis are all air signs. So anyone who's an air sign might get a boost, and anyone who's a fire sign, which is Leo, Aries, and Sagittarius. So we have a lot of dynamic energy under this new moon. It's actually really exciting, and it's a change from what we have been talking about in the first half of the year. We're coming into the second half of the year, and I kind of remember going back to the beginning of the year, we had a lot of the dreamy, watery stuff going on, and now we're moving into fiery and airy signs. So it's definitely more dynamic and more social and outgoing, and people may be feeling more energy, like a boost in energy right now. So it's exciting.
That would be good, because it's pretty hot here at the moment. I'm not feeling very energetic at the moment.
I know we're having and it's heat, so it's like literal showing up as fire, isn't heat. So let me give you the details first. So this is a Gemini new moon, and it's happening on Monday, May the 30th, and that's for people in the US and people here in Italy. And I'll give you the times. So if you're in the US on the West Coast, it'll be 4:30 in the morning on Monday. So it'll be early in the morning. And then East Coast, 7:30 a.m. And here in Rome, it'll be 1:30 p.m. in the afternoon. And if you have been listening to our videos, you have heard me say, but I'll say it again just in case, a reminder that with the new moon, you really want to do any kind of intention setting or new moon rituals in the new moon phase, not before, because if you do it before, you're actually in the previous phase. The new moon marks the beginning of the lunar cycle. And when we talk about the full moons, you hear me say that it's okay to do it before or when it's peaking or after, because it's the middle of the phase and that light is building up and then peaking and then starting to fade away. And so I say if you're doing full moon stuff, before, during, after is fine. But for a new moon, like the one that's coming up on Monday, you really want to do your stuff in the new moon, not in the previous phase. That's the balsamic phase.
Yeah. Monday afternoon, or like if you're in Italy, Monday afternoon, Tuesday, would that be the best kind of time?
Exactly. Monday, after the new moon starts, anytime on Monday after the new moon phase starts in your location, and then Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay, so the theme of this new moon is idea making and action taking, just to kind of like capture what's going on. And I was purposeful in that theme because there's air and fire together in the energy of this new moon. And so if you think about just fire in general, it needs air, right, to blow it, and then the fire grows. And so we have not just the air new moon, the Gemini new moon, but we have some significant fire going on because we have a couple of other planets going through fire signs. And air and fire work really well together, generally speaking. You know your sun sign, so if you're a Gemini or a Libra or an Aquarius or a Sagittarius, a Leo or an Aries, and oftentimes these signs couple up really well together. But that's just sun sign. That doesn't take into consideration the whole chart. So, we can say these general things, but also to acknowledge with that disclaimer that there are other things that work in a chart. So there's you can't just say, oh, they always get along. It really depends on all the things. This new moon is, I think, one of the more social ones. Gemini is one of the most social signs we have. And the fire sign that's activated is Aries. And Aries is all about initiating things, pioneering things. It's creative, it's dynamic, it's got this youthful energy. It's the warrior. Aries is the warrior. It's like can't be stopped. Like if you want to get an Aries to do something, tell them that you don't think they can do it, because we'll take you up on that challenge every time. I'm an Aries moon. I can say that from experience. Like I can't tell you how many times when I was younger, someone would say, you can't do that. I was like, oh yeah, I'll show you. You know, one time someone told me they didn't think that I could go to school full time and get my degree full time. And I was like, well, no, I'm really going to do it. Like I already knew it was going to be hard, but there was no way I was going to let that person be right. So it can be beneficial, but it can also be, you know, you can imagine that there's times when you don't want to take people up on their challenges.
Yeah.
That is just a love of Aries. They love challenges. They love to do things that are physically difficult, and there's just a ton of energy in Aries. And so when you have Aries kind of blowing that energy with well, actually Gemini is the air sign, so I shouldn't say that, fueling the fire, Gemini air is fueling that fire, but it's a Gemini new moon. So really this is about Gemini. This is about being social. This is about communication. Geminis are about learning, commerce, and communication. Like those are the main three keywords. So we have a very busy, dynamic new moon coming up, because air signs and fire signs are very active signs. They're not reactive or passive, they're active. So that's why I think that there's a lot of energy for this new moon. And it's a really good time for our theme, which is idea making and action taking. Now there's still the Mercury retrograde, which we've talked about for the last few months. The Mercury retrograde gives this energy a reflecting back kind of vibe to it. Usually new moons are all about new beginnings, right? Or new phases. Yeah. And Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's also about charging out on new beginnings. It's got this youthful quality to it. So if we didn't have the Mercury retrograde, I think that this new moon would be all about starting new things and putting new ideas into action. Because Mercury retrograde is present, I'd say that it's doing those things, but with something that's already started. So if it's taking something to the next level, perfect, because it's something that was probably started more than a month ago, before May, you could say, and taking it to the next level, wrapping it up, just moving it along. Or ideas that you had in the past that you wanted to start but haven't started. What I'm really saying is that all of this new energy, new moon energy that is happening, to apply it to something that isn't freshly new. Like, you know, yesterday I had this great idea, so the new moon's coming on Monday, I'm going to go implement it on Monday. It might be better to research that idea, to use this time for reconnaissance. So if you really do have something new and exciting, or you have to start something new during this time, you might be better off doing more like collecting information, researching information, you know, putting the energy towards that, so that after the Mercury retrograde ends, which will be June the 3rd, you know, by mid-June, that energy will have settled down to, that would be a really good time to actually initiate the beginning of that thing, whatever it is. But you also might find that there was some piece of information you didn't have. You know, something just might come to light that makes it, you know, better if you wait to initiate the project in mid-June. But if it's something that was already started, especially, you know, like earlier in the year or in years past, or you have like a bigger project and it's finally like coming to the end, like apply all that energy towards it. It really is a super social new moon. And it makes this new moon quite different than I think the qualities that we've been talking about in the last few months, because this is so social that I would say this would be a good month to do new moon intentions with your friends. You know, if you like to do that sort of thing, you know, call up your besties, the people you're closest with, and be like, you know, let's have a brainstorming session, or you know, maybe you all been wanting to do something together. Like, you know, this would be a time to make the calls and say, okay, let's do it. Let's plan it. Let's finally like sit down and get our calendars out and get this done. But again, applying it to something that maybe you've been wanting to do, but haven't been able to kind of like find the time to do it. This is a good time to do it. Geminis are probably the most social, chatty, witty, clever people I know. Not to say that others aren't clever. It's just that Geminis, that's their thing. That's like what they're all about. You know, if you've ever met a Gemini, they always have a good comeback, always have something to talk about, you know, usually like a walking encyclopedia of a whole bunch of different things, and just, you know, really fun people to be around. So that's the energy that we're all going to be living under. So you may not be that way, but this is the energy that is around us. And so it's just more social. There's a more social vibe. I think I'm going to turn it over to you and hear about an essential oil to help us with that.
Yeah. So I was inspired by this energy of sort of that kind of dreamy energy is coming to an end, and now we're going to get this kind of more active, more kind of action focused energy. That inspired me to really think about that. There's a blend that doTERRA does, which is called In Tune. And it's got some lovely oils in there that are particularly effective on the brain, actually, like frankincense, but also like there's sandalwood, there's Roman chamomile, another really special oil. There's lime, you know, which is quite zesty and uplifting. There's patchouli. So it's a really lovely blend, which can really help us kind of get in tune with that energy of focus and taking action. And it's a great blend for, in general, actually, for either over or underactive brain activity. So you can use it in both ways. And it's a great one for focus and concentration, but it's also very grounding at the same time. So I thought that gave a really nice balance to you know, what we'll be experiencing as you're describing, you know, during this new moon, because it'll kind of give us both of those things. You got it there. I haven't got mine. Mine's usually in my office at my desk, because I use it a lot when I'm working, and right now I'm at home. And a great way, actually, I mean, I always use it in this context. Like if I've got a task that I need to do that I'm procrastinating about, and I just can't kind of get into it, I get the In Tune oil out. And it's also great for like that mid-afternoon energy slump as well, which a lot of people struggle with. So the great way to use it is kind of so it gets direct access to your brain, so on the back of your neck, but also along your spine and on the bottoms of your feet. So whenever you feel like you need a little bit of that kind of pick me up in terms of either just balancing your energy levels, but also balancing your focus and concentration, this is the perfect oil to be using during this time.
Oh my gosh, that I have to say that's probably my favorite blend. And
Is it?
It is that and adaptive. And then,
Yeah.
but I have a lot of the individuals, you know, so I'm always trying to reproduce the blend. It's like, well, how do they do that? So, so I love,
I just find it easier to buy the roll-on personally. But you can diffuse, because this is like a roll-on that they've made, but there's nothing to diffuse that's got all of those oils in it at the moment. So you could diffuse, you know, I mean, frankincense, sandalwood, and Roman chamomile are some of the most expensive, some of the most precious essential oils. So you don't want to be too extravagant with your with your diffusing. But patchouli and lime kind of balance all of that out. So yeah, I think you could also be diffusing some of those oils at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you don't have it on hand on Monday, I mean, you just, if you have some of those, maybe you can sparingly diffuse. Lime, not so much, because I don't think lime's so expensive, but maybe you don't want to drop too much. Yeah, that sandalwood and chamomile.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love lime. Just I
Yeah, gorgeous. I put it, because it's the doTERRA oil and you can take it internally. I drink it a lot in my water, especially during the summer, and also like when you're feeling a bit like mucusy, like sometimes you just kind of get that feeling that you've got too much catarrh going on. It's a really nice lime is a great oil even for rubbing on the chest too, just kind of disperse all of that.
Is lime the one that is best for that scattered feeling, or was it a different oil that you think's more for that feeling of being scattered or over and under?
No, no lime. No, not for being scattered as such. I mean, I would think about more. Well, to be honest, the in tune blend when you're feeling scattered, I would just go back to that.
Yeah.
Kind of refocus and get kind of aligned with what you need to be doing at that time. When you feel scattered, your thoughts are just kind of everywhere, aren't they? And you don't really know where to start on things.
Yeah, you're right. It's one of those grounding oils.
Yeah.
Is
also
that
balance, that blend balance that doTERRA does, that's really nice too.
Yeah, I didn't mention that, but you're right. Scattered is another quality of Gemini, that because it's such a mental sign, and it's one of the dual signs, it's the twins. So it's just like there can just be lots of mental energy going around and around and around in your head. So that could be another way that this manifests. And so if that is you, if you know that you tend to get really busy in the mind, where maybe nobody else knows that, but you know that you're in your head, like thoughts are going around and around and around, to do kind of grounding stuff. And I think essential oils are really helpful for that, and some body work would be helpful, and exercising, like getting some of that energy out, which is such an Aries thing to do. It's like get out and move, and these two signs are really working in tandem at this time at the new moon. But it's going to go beyond the new moon, because this Aries highlight, and kind of why we're moving away from the watery stuff that we've been talking about for such a long time, is because the planet Jupiter changed signs, and it doesn't change signs very often. It's around once a year. I mean, sometimes with retrograde, it like goes back and forth into a sign and then out of a sign, but it's moved into Aries, and so it's a shift that is a bigger backdrop kind of shift, but it is important because it happens to be traveling with Mars right now. And so you put these two together, both in Aries, and it's like, wow, that's a significant shift from what we were experiencing earlier this year, especially because they were both just in Pisces, which is a water sign, and just a very different quality. So if you've noticed some shifts in terms of just like maybe a lot of emotionality has been going on, that when we move into the fire air, it's going to dry that up. But also there can be an increase of energy, and just an increase of mental energy, and increase of physical energy. And I think that's what this new moon is really capturing. And it doesn't have a lot of difficult things going on. That's the other thing, is like sometimes we do these videos and there's some like really difficult tension like energies that I'm talking about. I don't really have a lot to talk about for this one.
Oh, good. No difficult stuff. That we like that.
Yeah, with the disclaimer that your individual chart, right? Everybody has individual charts, and for some Aries energy can be difficult, and for others Aries energy is welcome. It really depends on your chart, and this is a general type of a video. This is general information. Still though, what I'm saying is true. It's true with what's going on in the sky. It's just we can't speak to what's going on in every single person's individual chart.
Sure.
So that being said, let me give you some information on what to do on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I also have ideas for the 2 weeks leading up to the next full moon, just in case, you know, sometimes you don't have time to get to stuff on the actual new moon. So I like to talk about things that you can do kind of like over the time period, the new moon phase, and then the full moon phase. It's really just breaking down the lunar phase into 2 phases. One is the new moon to the full moon, and then one is the full moon to the new moon. And in astrology and in astronomy, you know, the lunar phases are broken down into smaller phases, but, you know, we can definitely break it down into the 2 halves. Okay, so that being said, on the new moon, connect with others. So, you know, I'll repeat myself, this is a really social new moon, and, you know, we're kind of sort of coming out of the pandemic. I know we're not completely out, but I think that we have more ability to be social than we did. Well, for sure, we have more ability to be social this Gemini new moon than we did 1 year ago when we had the last Gemini new moon, right? I mean, if we look back to 2021, we definitely have more ability to be social. So be social. And if you can do that in person, do it in person. If you can't, do it online. We now all probably have a lot of skill at using Zoom. And this is a good one to do with your friends. So, you know, if you want to get together and write new moon intentions at the coffee shop after work, or at, you know, maybe, I don't know, happy hour at a bar is necessarily the right way to do it. But you know your life and your friends, and whatever works. You know, maybe you meet at somebody's house and you have like a get together and you do something to bring in the new moon together. It's a social new moon, and so it does indicate doing things with others, friends, family, or even colleagues. So, right, Gemini is, I mentioned earlier, education, communication, and commerce. And so it's just, I think journaling every phase, every day can be good. But maybe you're not a writer, maybe you don't journal all that often. This could be one time where it doesn't feel so unnatural to sit down and write. If you are a writer, if you are somebody who journals, yay, me too. I love journaling. It's one of the best things that we can do for ourselves. Make sure that you do journal, and then keep in mind this idea of idea making and action taking. So, you know, capture ideas, and also maybe write some to-do lists, like, you know, how you're actually going to do something about what you're writing about. Okay, use essential oils. So we talk about them every moon video that we do, and I have my diffuser going on right there. I have gotten in the habit of turning it on like as part of my morning routine when I'm kind of like coming into the office. It's just part of my routine now. But for many years, I've had diffusers, and I would go days and they would just sit there, and then I wouldn't turn them on. So if you have a diffuser, because this is an air new moon, and the diffuser is kind of like, you know, the air is coming out. You might be able to see some of that, the mist coming out. Like, do it, you know, pull it, get the dust off and get it going. And if you already diffuse, then you're like ready to go. And if you have any of the oils that Annabelle mentioned, even if you don't have the blend, you know, you use what you can sparingly with the ones that are very costly. But I would just really recommend getting essential oils in the air, because it's an air element, you know. I always say, you know, do something with the element. And we have water, air, fire, earth. This one is air. So, you know, it's not like water is like go to the ocean. Well, air, you know, we breathe, right? So you want to maybe focus more on purified air. And, you know, maybe if you haven't pulled out your air purifier for the season, it could be a good time to get that going. Or just going where there's clean air, you know, going to the forest and taking a hike. Or, you know, if you live in the city center where there's a lot of exhaust and fog, you know, you might want to just get away from that and try to get some clean, fresh air into your lungs. Okay, what else? Organize and clean. So Geminis are busybodies in the head, and Aries is busybody in the body. So, you know, that's one way to put yourself, or to use this energy up. It's clean and organized. And we have Mercury retrograde, which is all about reorganizing. So that could be a good thing to do.
Oh, good.
Yes. And then for some things, if you don't have the time to do that on the new moon, it's okay. You know, those are everything that I mentioned you could, you know, do in the 2 weeks. But I try to think of things that, you know, maybe need more time. And so here's some more ideas on that. Do a presentation. So Gemini is the sign of communication. So if you have to present something, try to do it during this coming week when we have this Gemini new moon. Let's see, meet up with people, get social, whether it's on social media, on Zoom, on whatever format. There's many formats out there now, or in person if you can. I do want to mention Mercury is going to go direct under this new moon phase. It's going to go direct on June the 3rd. And so, first of all, I want to stress that the days that Mercury goes retrograde and the day that it goes direct are the days where that Mercury retrograde energy is most sensitive, because too many times people are like, oh, when is that going to be over? And I say, you know, June the 3rd, and like, oh, thank goodness, I'm going to go do this on June the 3rd. It's like, no, that's the worst thing you could do, because you know, when Mercury is doing this change of direction thing, and it's not really doing the change of direction in the sky, it's a metaphor for the way the orbits move around. I have an article on that, and I also have a video that explains that, because it's far too complicated for me to do that in this video. But take my word that the day it goes retrograde and the day it goes direct are the days where the qualities of Mercury retrograde are the most present. And that means more confusion, more delays, possible breakdowns of communication, breakdowns of cars. So, you know, if you think that, oh, I'm just going to try to make it, you know, maybe I'll get all green lights, you probably won't. And so just prepare yourself for that and just be okay with it and plan around it. Like, plan to be maybe not all that busy on June the 3rd. You know, don't plan back-to-back meetings, and definitely not the ones where you don't have enough time to get from A to B, but you just are going to try to wing it and be like, whatever, I'll just be like a couple minutes late. No, you'll probably be like 15 to 30 minutes late, or you might even miss the meeting altogether. So, you know, why stress about that when you know in advance that that is coming? Just plan around it, right? So I just wanted to mention that. Okay. Try to close a deal that you've been working on. Mercury is the commerce, and, you know, not a new one, not like I'm going to call someone that, you know, I'm going to try to start something new and close them, but more like if you've been working on something for a while, since before May, you might be able to bring it home this week under this new moon phase. And anything that I have forgotten? Oh, yes. I wanted to talk about overdoing it. Mostly overdoing it, probably not underdoing it. The Jupiter, Mars, Aries energy is really gung-ho. It's like, I can do anything. I can fly. No, I'm kidding. I'm exaggerating. But just so you're kind of like understanding that there could be this quality of like just feeling like a superhero. Like I can do more than I really can. And so it's just a caution to be aware of your limitations. Absolutely go for it.
Just pace yourself, I guess.
Pace yourself, exactly. Because there's this possibility of overdoing it. And what you don't want to overdo is things like drinking too much, if you get angry with somebody, you could kind of go over the top. You don't want to cross boundaries, kind of thing. You know, there's the assertiveness versus aggression. So you want to stick with assertive and try not to go too far into aggression. So that would be the downside of having all this like abundance of energy, and kind of like feeling like really gung-ho, like really excited. and ready to go out and take on the world, is like Annabelle said, pace yourself and just take pauses, and don't overcommit yourself. And, or wear yourself out. That's the thing. Sometimes you have all this energy and you go and you go and it's like you don't want to stop, so you don't stop. But then the next day you end up paying the price because you really overdid it. So it's important to kind of like just try to have balance. Aries is not really about balance. It's the opposite sign of Libra, which Libra is all about having that balance. So that just kind of gives you some indication of the quality of Aries. And when you put Aries with Mars in Aries with the planet like Jupiter also in Aries, and Jupiter is the planet of growth, expansion, of opportunity, and just like go, go, go. And Mars is all about action. It really does set up the stage for the possibility of doing too much, overdoing things. So that's really the only downside of this, is just to really be careful. Okay, got a couple quotes for you. Really loving the idea of quotes. I found two that I thought spoke well to the new moon. The first one's a little bit long. I'm going to read it to you. And it goes like this. Ideas are like slippery fish. They seem to have a peculiar knack of getting away from us. And because of this, the creative person always has a pad and pencil handy. When he gets an idea, he writes it down. He knows that many people have found their whole lives changed by a single great thought. By capturing ideas immediately, he doesn't risk forgetting them. So Gemini being really creative, you might just find that there's a whole bunch of ideas kind of getting downloaded into your brain. And that's why, even if you're not a writer or a journaling kind of person, I really think that it's a good time to write, because you might find that you have some ideas that you want to refer back to. And if you don't write them down, they can just kind of like fall away. You forgot that you had that great idea. So I really liked that quote for that reason. That quote is from Earl Nightingale. The second one is from Hortense Kalischer. I don't know if I'm saying her name right, but I hope that I am. She is an author. She's passed away, but she released quite a bit of material. And she says, "This is my answer to the gap between ideas and action. I will write it out." So kind of once again, speaking to the making ideas and taking action, that you want to write it down because it can help you get there. I'm a big believer that you have your written goals and then you have your written action plan for how you're going to do that. So that's why I liked that that's why I liked that quote.
And it links with what you were saying about the journaling as well, in general, just writing. That's just a way of encouraging ideas also to come out, right? Because you never really know what's going to come out when you journal, do you?
No, that whole idea of free association. I mean, I don't know if you've ever done it, but I've done it many times, and how many great things come out of it that you couldn't even imagine. And with others. One last thing just popped in my head, but going to the office or to a solopreneur who may have, a network of people, like if you get with them, or if you have something at the office where, you need to brainstorm something, do it this week. Like get people in a room, get in a pile, and just popcorn. Like, no idea is a bad idea, because whatever you say can lead to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. And then like you get to the thing that's the big aha, oh, this is it. And so this is a really good time to do that. If you have your own business and you're trying to develop something, like just writing things down and let that free association, like it, just write it down. It doesn't matter. There's no wrong or right. Don't think about it. Don't like evaluate it or judge it. Just get it all out there and see where it leads you, because you could really find some interesting and creative things come out of this new moon. And then wait till Mercury goes direct to do something about it. Like a week after Mercury goes direct. Yeah. All right.
Cool. Okay. Thank you. Good stuff.
Yes, thank you. So we'll be back mid-June for the full moon video. It'll be the full moon will be June 14th, and it'll be in the sign of Sagittarius. So that one should be pretty outgoing as well.
Yeah. Cool.
All righty.
Thanks. Story.
Thank you. See you next
Thanks,
time.
everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.